Hello everyone! In today's lesson, we're going to deal with grammar, and more exactly, the past tenses. Now, in English language, there are four main past tenses, and they are past simple, past continuous or progressive, past perfect simple, and the past perfect continuous. Let's enter into detail and explain each of them. The first verb tense we're going to deal with is the past simple tense. It is used to describe actions, habits, or events that happened at a specific time in the past and are no longer true at present. For example, we spent every holiday in Wales as a child, which was a habit, or she received the package yesterday, which is in a specific time in the past. Now, this tense also expresses past actions which happened one immediately after the other. For example, Carl packed his suitcase, grabbed his passport, and drove to the airport. Below, you will find the conjugation for the three main forms, which are affirmative, negative, and interrogative. The second verb tense we're going to deal with is the past continuous or the past progressive tense. It is used to describe an action which was in progress at a stated time or was interrupted by another action. For example, they were shopping at 3 o'clock yesterday, or we were skiing down a slope when Oliver twisted his ankle. The second use of the present continuous is to express two or more actions happening at the same time. For example, while I was getting our suitcases, William was checking at the hotel. Its last use is to express or to give background information about a story. For example, they were waiting for Dad to fix the car, but it wasn't looking hopeful. It was getting darker and darker, and we were feeling more and more worried. Below, you will find the table for the conjugation for the past continuous in affirmative, negative, and interrogative. Now, the third tense we're going to deal with is the past perfect. It is used for an action which finished before another past action or before a stated time in the past. For example, the ferry had already left by the time we arrived at the port, or the shops had already closed by 6 o'clock. Its second use is to express or talk about an action which was finished in the past and whose result was visible at a later point in the past. For example, the hotel was empty, everyone had gone to bed. Below, you have the table and the conjugation in the three forms, affirmative, negative, and interrogative for the past perfect tense. The last and fourth verb tense is the past perfect continuous. It has two main uses. The first one is to put emphasis on the duration of an action which started and finished in the past before another action or stated time in the past, usually with the words for and since. For example, they had been climbing the mountain for 2 hours before they realized they had left their mobile phones at the campsite. The second use is for an action which lasted for some time in the past and whose result was visible also in the past. For example, Dylan had been scuba diving all afternoon, so he was exhausted. And you have also the conjugation table in the three forms, affirmative, negative, and the interrogative. Now, when we talk about past tenses, there is a tendency to make confusion, especially between past perfect tenses and the past simple tense. Now, in some sentences which talk about the past, it is clear which situation happened the first. In this case, we can use the past simple for both actions, but however, when the order of events is not clear, or when we want to emphasize which action happened first, we can use the past perfect simple, past perfect continuous for the first action. For example, Terry left the building as soon as the earthquake stopped or had stopped. Jenny told the police officer that she had lost her wallet. Or the climbers had been sheltering for hours before the rain stopped. We're going to deal also with some other structures of the past, and they're used to, be or get used to, and would. Now, the first one is the grammatical structure used to plus a bare infinitive, which is used to express past habits or stages, particularly for the distant past. For example, I used to train 3 times a week. The structure be get used to plus the ing form or a noun is used for a situation that is already familiar or no longer strange. For example, I didn't like the climate at first, but now I'm getting used to it. Or he didn't like being the goalkeeper at first, but now he's used to it. And the last structure of the past is would plus bare infinitive, which is used for the past habits, particularly for the distant past. For example, when I was young, my father would take me to the park to play. This was all we had prepared regarding the grammar of the Unit 2. Thank you everyone for your attention.